Nigerian Bar Association yesterday admitted collecting 300 million naira from the Rivers State government while planning its 2025 annual general conference initially billed for Port Harcourt. This followed the demand by Rivers State sole administrator Ibok Ete Ibas that the money approved by suspended Governor Siminalayi Fugbara be refunded. However, the NBA said the cash was an unconditional gift, not payment, to facilitate the conference. The government, in a statement by Hector Igbi Kiowubo, the media aide to Vice Admiral Ibas, faulted the reasons given by the NBA for the relocation of its conference after receiving the money. The statement read, while we respect the NBA's right to choose its conference venues, we find it curious that the association, despite its principled position, didn't address the refund of the 300 million naira already paid by the Rivers State government for the hosting rights of the 2025 conference. If the NBA truly stands on principle, it should demonstrate the same integrity by promptly returning these funds rather than benefiting from a state it now publicly discredits. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in exercising its constitutional authority, acted in the best interest of the state to restore stability. The sole administrator's mandate is clear: to oversee a transitional period that ensures the return of full democratic governance in line with the Constitution. To suggest that this intervention flouts the rule of law is not only incorrect, but ignores the Supreme Court's rulings that have validated key decisions made during this period. In the event the NBA was not aware, the association should consult the landmark judgment of the Supreme Court in suite number SC-CV/1176/2024, Rivers State House of Assembly and others versus Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, RISIEC, and 9 others, while the Apex Court unequivocally ruled out any local government election conducted in violation of the Electoral Act is unconstitutional, null and void. Comrade, what's your take on this? This story has been hitting the headlines for 2 days now. What's your take on this story?
Whatever name they are calling it, whether money paid for hosting rights or a gift given, I still strongly believe that if Rivers State government says pay back this money, it should be paid back.
Even despite the fact
except that this money, when it was being paid as hosting rights, there was a clause that it's going to be a money that cannot be paid back. Okay, if there's that clause, then Rivers State governments do not have the powers to get this money back. And if it is also a gift, and there is this clause again that says it's not refundable money, whether the event holds or not, then Rivers State government, shouldn't ask for that money, and that money shouldn't come back. But if it was not so, even if I give you a gift and I say I don't want you to take that gift again, give it back to me, I can take it back from you.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying now? If those clauses are not there, count it gift, call it a hosting right or whatever. If I say I want to take it back, I'll take it back. You can feel bad about it. There's no problems. I am the one who gave to you, true of us, so I can take it back. But if there's a clause that this is non-refundable, I think that's also why people, when you go pay some fees for some registrations and all of those things, they may tell you registration fee is non-refundable. At that point, you know that, when you finish your registration and it didn't work out the way you wanted it, you don't have to go back and ask for that fund because it's a non-refundable fund. But if it is open, that if it didn't work, you can still take your money in any case, and I bet you at any point in time you so wish to take back your money, you're going to take back your money. You understand what I'm saying now? If the NBA has evidence to it that this money was paid under the clause of non-refundable, then Rivers State government should not be asking for that money.
What's your take on the decision of the NBA to move the venue for hosting the conference, irrespective of the initial agreement they've had with the previous administration before suspension?
At some point, in my own opinion, at some point, I looked at it as a political event.
Okay.
Like they looked at it politically. Because in the normal sense of it, this is how I reason, in the normal sense of it, the Supreme Court In the judgment they just gave, said there was no governance in Rivers State. There was no democracy, there was no governance. That is to say that the governor was operating a dictatorship government.
Okay.
Now, I wondered why they said so, because this governor I know is democratically elected. But when you read through the rulings, you will understand that they said so because in the eyes of the law, all that the governor said was the reason that he acted the way he acted wasn't so in the eyes of the law.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay.
That alone settles the matter. That alone settles the matter. If in the eyes of the law, that you have taken oath under, that you will keep the law, you will abide by the law, you follow the law, if in the eyes of that law, whether they judge partially, that is, I'm just trying to say now, whether they judge partially or not, but in the eyes of the law, it is that this thing you're doing is wrong. Okay?
Okay.
If the law says it's wrong, then it is wrong. And you are still operating under it. So I think there is a mistake that occurred along the line. And this NBA coming to say that that is the reason they are moving their convention to Enugu, I am thinking is political, because I see them trying to use that arm to fight the law.
But they raise claims of insecurity and raise claims as also currently we will not say the state is under a democratic rule. It's actually looking like a quasi-military rule.
That's the same.
So these claims aren't substantial enough for them to change the location of the venue.
That's why I said, to me, that's my opinion in any case. Anybody is free to say his own opinion. In my own opinion, there's a political game under that. If you talk about insecurity, since the sole administrator took over power, has there been any form of trouble anywhere that you can count on and say this is the reason that you're saying there is insecurity? I've been in Rivers State. I've really been in Rivers State. There had not been such. So that does not hold water. But what I'm saying is, they are saying that because it is not solely democratic stuff. So, but they should also understand, that's where I was going to, they should understand that the reason that this thing happened was to make sure that there is calmness in the state. And as Abbas is, we are not seeing him as the governor of Rivers State.
Okay.
Do you understand? He is only acting for this period of time that they want this peace to, come together, people to come together and make peace. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Okay. So if you even ask me, this is the safest time they should even hold their meeting. Since, yes, there's nobody chasing them. But did anybody make threat to NBA sitting?
Nobody made threat. But
so where did the insecurity issue come up from?
One of their fears, I think, was alleged that you can't really tell what comes next since you're not operating on a fully democratic government. You could wake up in the next day and the law, there's a rule that states that
you can't use that assumption to conclude in the world of reality. I think they should know better than me. Yes, they should know better than me. They work with facts and reality. If you go to the courtroom, they work with facts. It is what they see. It's not what you're trying to say that counts. Okay, it is what they see at the end of the day. I don't know if you understand me. So if the NBA can so say that because they have thought that they don't know what will happen, in the next minute or next hour or the next day, because of that, they are now, that's assumption. So they can as well assume that they don't know what will happen in Enugu State and not go there.
I'm talking about facts on governance. Not just happenings outside society, like executive orders that could be given within the period of time where this event is hosted in Rivers State.
Will the executive send people to come and attack them? I don't understand the facts you're talking about. Will the executive send people to come and attack them? Do they have any issues with the executive? That's why I say this thing is political. In a straightforward and a real issue, they don't have any issue. They are just using it to fight the system. That's just purely what they did. They are using it to fight the system. That's all. There's nothing. They can sit and have their meeting as much as they want to and they will finish their meeting and go back. But if they do so, there will be no fight against the system. So, but where is troubling me now is that they are lawyers. Can anybody assume the place of the law? Can I just wake up and say, because I have this understanding concerning the law and I say it and it is so, I will still take my matter to the court and they will judge it. Whether right or wrong, they will still judge it.
Okay.
I don't know why it's looking this way. For instance, as when I say, people will say, why are you comparing Nigerian matter or whatever to scripture? If God say, if you ask God for something and he didn't even talk to you and answer you, would God be a bad person? He will not. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying now. He won't be a bad person. And so if he also makes a judgment that didn't suit your direction, will he be a bad person? No. Let's take, for instance, when Solomon judged about those two women. In the eyes of the other woman who didn't own the child, it would have been bad. The eyes of the man who owns the child would have been good. But when Solomon said, destroy this child into two, it was good for the person who didn't own the child. Did he make the situation good? Did he make everything good? No. So what I'm saying is, the law is the final say.
Okay.
You understand me now? And they also are part of the law. Some of them take people's hold, you know, I mean, they judge for people, or rather they are lawyers that actually, you know, hold people's cases. Okay, so would they be happy that suddenly they just tell them that, look, you are not doing anything. In fact, I'm not bringing this matter because you don't know what you're doing. Would they be comfortable with that idea? You know, just bastardizing their whole knowledge in the school, trying to learn about the ethics and, you know, pedigrees of law? No, now. Yep. So why are you using this now as an excuse to do otherwise? You are just trying to incite people indirectly to still look at the state of emergency as something that is bad. But like I said, the state of emergency came from the court ruling, which is the Supreme Court, which is just the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is our own law in this country. It's expected that whatever we are doing, we do it such that when the law sees it, it says it is right or it says it is wrong. I don't know if you understand me. People think that, okay, freedom of speech, freedom of behave anyhow, why not just jump into the deep ocean? Because you have freedom to do anyhow you like. You are still careful not to do things that will hurt you. Do you understand?
Okay.
You still guide yourself from your conscience, your understanding of the situation of things on ground. So this whole thing is for me, like I said, the only thing that can make that money not to come back is that if there is a clause that this money is a non-refundable money, even if it is a gift. I'm telling you, even if I give you a gift, you can only feel bad about it and call me bad names and say, this guy, you're a bad person, this man, you're a bad man. How can you give me gift and come back to take it? God freely gave us Jesus Christ, and he took him back when the time came.
Okay, let me also ask one more question before moving on to the next story. On the part of the sole administrator, do you think his executive or legislative jurisdiction court encompasses him asking this NBA to refund this money? I'm looking at from the fact of the responsibility he was given. Can we justify his call to them to refund the money?
Do you know what you should be thinking? When a father hands over his son or daughter, little child, let me use the word little child, to a nanny or a maid or whoever at home and leaves the house, is it not in the power of the nanny or maid or whoever to tell the child, this place, don't go, here, go, give me this thing, don't touch it, do so or don't do so? Whether the father, if present, will say do it or not, that's inconsequential.
Okay.
Or it doesn't really matter. But because the absolute power of manage this thing before I come back, or manage it as I'm away, rather, manage it, it's within your power to do justice to it.
All right.
But with discretion and wisdom, so you don't also spoil things.
Okay,
is that not so?
Yeah.
So the sole administrator, for now that is managing the affairs of Rivers State, has that absolute power, do you understand, to manage Rivers money where necessary. I don't know if you understand me. So if people are stealing Rivers money now, you say, okay, because the sole administrator is not elected, you should just close his eyes to it and leave it.
All right, thank you very much for your...